Genesis 20. Abraham and Abimelech. And Abraham journeyed from there to the south, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and stayed in Gerar. Now Abraham said to Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. And God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Indeed you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, She is my sister? And she, even she herself said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this. And God said to him in a dream, Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not let you touch her. Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. So Abimelech rose early in the morning, called all his servants, and told all these things in their hearing. And the men were very much afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? How have I offended you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done. Then Abimelech said to Abraham, What did you have in view that you have done this thing? And Abraham said, Because I thought, Surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will kill me on account of my wife. But indeed she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, This is your kindness that you should do for me. In every place wherever we go, say of me, He is my brother. Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, See, my land is before you, dwell where it pleases you. Then to Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this indicates you before all who are with you, and before everybody. Thus she was rebuked. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech his wife and his female servants. Then they bore children. For the Lord had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Let's read commentary here. Genesis chapter 20. Where is it? Here we go. So verse 1 through 18, commentary. If you feel like you've heard this story before, you have. In Genesis 12, verse 10 to 20, Abraham, fearing for his life, lied to Pharaoh about Sarah. He said she was his sister rather than his wife. God revealed Abraham's deception then, preventing Pharaoh from doing anything rash. In the end, Abraham left Egypt with more resources than when he had arrived. Years later, Abraham, finding himself in a similar position, this time with the king of Abimelech, decided to pull the same stunt. Abraham said about his wife Sarah, She is my sister. And even though Sarah was 90 years old, she was apparently still quite attractive. The king immediately brought her to himself. Before anything could happen, however, God approached Abimelech in a dream, giving him news of the real relationship between Abraham and Sarah. King Abimelech's fear of God and his righteous life demonstrated his acceptance by God. He had responded by faith to the revelation he had received apart from participation in a prescribed sacrificial system. This faith before the coming of Christ allowed God to apply the death of Christ to his sin, since in God's plan, Jesus was crucified before the foundation of the world. See Revelations 13 verse 8. This is the first time we see Abraham called a prophet. Abraham, in spite of his sin, was still a good God's spokesman, but it seems intentional that God uses that word now, when Abraham is failing to act uprightly. Once again, it is an unbelieving king, not Abraham, who does the virtuous and right thing. Abraham, the prophet, should be humiliated for being rebuked by a heathen king. Abraham's actions before Abimelech were more dangerous than he probably realized. God had just promised to open Sarah's womb and let her conceive. The promise of a child, which Abraham and Sarah had been waiting for 25 years, was on the cusp of fulfillment. But Abraham nearly threw it away. God himself had to intervene dramatically, threatening death to Abimelech, and closing the womb of Abimelech's entire household to keep his covenant intact. And that concludes Genesis 20. Stay tuned for Genesis 21.